One of my clients lost 30 pounds in just 3 months working out just 2 to 3 times a week. And today I'm going to talk you through the exact process and program that I set up for him to do that. Just for context, this is what 1 pound of body fat looks like. So that means he lost 30 of these. And before you start thinking, this guy must be special, there's no way I could do that. This guy is in his 40s, married with 2 children, and works an incredibly busy corporate job. I actually released another video about this very topic recently. That video was called How to Lose 2 Pounds a Week Like Clockwork. It did pretty well, but it also caused a bit of a stir. Most of the comments were incredibly kind, but some people clearly just didn't believe it was possible. And a small percentage even got angry at me, saying that what I said was misleading and just an outright lie. Well, today's video is the sequel, and I think you're going to want to stick around for it, because I'm going to show you concrete proof and evidence of a real life client of mine who's lost 30 pounds in just 3 months. So before we get into it, if you don't know who I am, my name is Doug, and I've been a personal trainer and a certified nutritionist for the last 5 years. And when I'm not creating YouTube videos like this, I specialize in helping men to lose weight and take back control of their health so that they can double their energy levels and get their edge back. And that's what I want to help you guys to do today with this video. So let's get into it. The very first thing that I got this guy to do before he even started his program is something that I do with every single one of my clients. I got him to really think about why he wanted to do this. Because the clients who get the best results are the ones who are intrinsically motivated to succeed. They have a deep-rooted driver that keeps them going. It keeps them going when the initial motivation wears off. I'm talking about when it's a cold, dark, wet, mundane Tuesday morning and you're 6 weeks in. You might have heard the phrase before that if you've got a strong why, the how will take care of itself. And I'm a firm believer of that. But more than that, I also encourage my clients to adopt what we call the superhero mindset model. Because what most people don't realize is that reality lags identity by 1 to 2 years. In other words, you have to identify with the version of yourself that you want to be in the future today. And don't worry, I'm not talking about changing your pronouns or your gender or anything like that. This is about adopting the habits, the beliefs, the behaviors, the mindset, and the lifestyle of the person that you want to become. The person who's already doing this stuff, the person who's already got what you want. Because this stuff doesn't happen by magic and it doesn't happen overnight. And what this does is it breaks existing patterns and existing limiting belief systems. Those things are what's keeping you stuck in the body and the mind that you so desperately want to change. So that was the very first thing that I got him to do. Secondly, we set him up with what I would call a semi-sustainable approach. And I call it semi-sustainable because even though it's very realistic for someone to do this for 3 to 6 months, after that, 99.9% of people wouldn't be able to keep up with it because he doesn't need to keep losing weight at that rate. This was a fast-track plan to get him to his goal as quick as possible. And that's the approach he wanted to take. Now he can continue to lose weight if he wants to, but at a slower, much more sustainable long-term rate. During his fast track phase, he wanted to lose 2 pounds of fat a week. That means we needed to create a 1,000 calorie deficit for him to stick to every day. Or a better way to look at this is creating a 7,000 calorie deficit per week. And that's because there are 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat in one of these. So if you want to lose 2 of these a week, as my client did, then we need to create that 7,000 calorie deficit. To do that, the first thing we had to do was calculate what we call his maintenance calorie number. This is the number of calories that he was burning based on his physiology, his age, his weight, his height, and his sex, and how active his lifestyle was. And by the way, if you want to know your calorie number, I've got a completely free calorie calculator that you can use by clicking the first link in the description underneath this video. But rather than just taking his maintenance calorie number and subtracting 1,000 and getting him to eat 1,000 calories less a day, we got him to eat 500 calories less, and we got him to increase his activity level, the number of calories that he's burning, by 500 calories a day. And by doing that, we increased his maintenance calorie number by 500, got him to eat 500 calories less, creating that 1,000 calorie deficit. But this is where it gets even better, even easier, and even more sustainable. Because the next thing that I got him to do was start to proactively plan his weeks so that he could have high calorie days and low calorie days. Because as long as his weekly calorie deficit came out to 7,000, it didn't matter how he chose to manage that day to day. It gave him all the control and put him in the driver's seat. And most importantly, it gave him the freedom to do it how he wants to do it. I never gave him a meal plan either. I've done a whole other video on this, but in short, they just don't work. Instead, what I did is gave him macronutrient guidelines. So he knew how much protein, carbohydrates, and fats to eat each day. I encouraged him to eat a high protein diet because protein as a macronutrient is known to be the most satiating, to fill you up the most. We made sure he was always drinking a lot of water and staying hydrated, because water is also a great way to fill your stomach and kill your appetite and stop you from snacking in between meals. And we managed his calories weekly by him tracking everything that he ate in a free app called MyFitnessPal. So you might be thinking, okay, Doug, I can get on board with the nutrition side of things, But how did he increase his activity level by 500 calories every single day? Well, I've already told you that he only worked out 2 to 3 times a week, and that's completely true. But it was the way I set these workouts up for him that enabled him to maximize the calorie burn whilst minimizing the workout time. All of his workouts were full body workouts based around compound movements. Compound movements are those multi-joint, multi-muscle exercises like squats, deadlifts, lunges, pull-ups, push-ups, dips, overhead press, cable rows, and chest press. These are known to burn the most calories because they use the biggest muscles. The biggest muscles require the most oxygen, which means the heart and the lungs have to work harder to bring in the most fresh oxygen and then pump it in the blood to the muscles to contract. In other words, they're the most metabolic exercises. They raise your heart rate the most. That means he could work out 2 to 3 times a week, but burn a ton of calories. And the other big thing that he did was he drastically increased his step count. He went from averaging 8,000 steps a day to 15,000 steps a day. Because walking 15,000 steps a day will help you to burn anything from 500 to 750 calories, depending on your weight and how fast you're walking. So you see, when you start to stack this together, all the stuff I'm talking you through, that you don't need to work out like a maniac 7 days a week or eat a super restrictive diet or follow some boring meal plan. And this approach and the mindset that he took on going into this enabled him to do the most important thing: stay consistent. Because you can have the best plan in the world, but if you can't stick to it, it's irrelevant. And this is a huge mistake that I see people make all of the time. They overinvest in the theory of putting together an amazing plan. They make it so extreme, but they underinvest in making it sustainable and thinking about the practical application of it, or having the right mindset. So it makes it impossible for them to stay consistent and they end up giving up. A great way to stay consistent that we haven't covered yet is to get on top of your sleep. Try to get at least 7 hours of high quality deep sleep every night. And I promise you that is going to be a game changer on its own. Make sure your bedroom is cold and dark. Invest in a good bed, in a great mattress, in a nice pillow and some good bedding. Don't eat for 3 hours before bed, and stop drinking 2 hours before you go to bed, and get off your phone and stop watching Netflix an hour before bed. Those things are all going to drastically improve your sleep quality. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people are getting enough sleep, their sleep quantity, but they're not focused on their sleep quality. So they're waking up still feeling exhausted. And that matters because sleep is when your endocrine system is resetting. It's when all your hormones are coming back into balance. Your cortisol, your stress hormone, comes down. Your leptin, which controls how satiated you are, how full you feel, goes up. Your ghrelin, which controls your hunger levels, come down. And the last thing that this guy did is that he chose to invest in me as a coach to hold him accountable. This was a fast track plan, so it wasn't always easy. There were times when his family, his kids, and his work kept him extremely busy. There were times when he got sick, but the whole way through, he remained very open-minded and very coachable. He trusted me in the process and he got the reward. He also didn't pick and choose which part of the program he was going to follow. He did it all. Essentially, I gave him a checklist to tick off every week. Workouts, his calories, his protein, his water, his sleep, and his steps. And he knew that the more of those that he ticked off every week, the better chance he had to hit his goal. And then he checked in with me every single week, and if something was off, we fixed it. If he missed a target, I helped him get back on track. If he was lacking motivation, I reminded him why he started this. And all of that helped him to stay consistent and keep making progress. The way I encourage people to look at coaching who've never had it before is that it outsources the guesswork. And by doing that, it gives you a lot of peace of mind, because essentially you're now paying for the solution to the problem that you've got. Because you pay either way, guys. You either pay with time, as I did, or you pay with money. I tried and failed to get into shape for 10 years. It took me 10 years to figure all this stuff out and know what works. I teach my clients everything they need to know in 12 weeks. And if you wish that you could get a coach, but you don't think you can afford it, I'd encourage you to take your supplement budget and invest in a good coach instead. Because supplements will move the needle 1 to 2%. All of this other stuff will get you the rest of the way there. The return on investment, if your coach is good, is so much higher. Anyway, guys, that's it. That's a whistle-stop tour of everything that my client did to lose 30 pounds in just 3 months. You can take everything that I've talked you through in this video and plug it into your own life. Use the calorie calculator that I've built. That's free. First link in the description. Get in the right mindset. Build a sustainable approach with your diet and your nutrition. Set yourself up with some full body workouts. Walk a lot and stay consistent. And I promise you, if you do all of that, you'll get there. Simple. But I know simple doesn't mean easy. So if you want me to make this easy for you, then click the second link in the description of this video and you can join the waiting list for my online coaching program. That way I can take the guesswork out of the process for you, give you the blueprint, and help you to implement everything so that you can reach your goals faster and easier. Okay, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and until the next video, bye.